Hey guys, how are you all doing? It's Luffy Star here. As I said back in my Straw Hats bounty prediction video that I will also be making a bounty prediction of the worst generation after Wano. So here we are. Now I think when it comes to the worst generation, it really becomes very much fascinating. These guys are the ones who will be leading the new generation, be part of turning the world upside down, and of course the next pirate king will be emerging from this set of pirates, that being our main protagonist Luffy. If anyone wants a brief introduction to the worst generation, it is basically just a terminology given to 12 different notorious pirates who have successfully managed to make their mark as potent pirates throughout the world in these 2 years. Originally, 11 members from these worst generation were previously called supernovas, a term used for rookie pirates back in Sabaody archipelago who had bounties of over 100 million bellies. The members of first generation consists of our main protagonist Monkey D. Luffy, Roronoa Zoro, Marshall D. Teach, Eustace Captain Kidd, Trafalgar Law, Killer, Basil Hawkins, Scratchmen Apoo, X-Drake, Capone Gang Beige, Uruj and Jewelry Bonnie. Now before we move on to the bounties prediction part, I want to warn you guys about spoilers. Yes, I will be taking certain things from manga into consideration while talking about these characters. So please, if you don't want to get spoiled, click away from this video. Also on that note, my video on bounties prediction of Straw Hats, I have used some information from the manga while making it. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you can go to the last parts of that video where I showed all their posters at once with their bounties on. With that aside, let's start the bounties prediction of the worst generation. One important note before I start. I'm mainly only going to be predicting the bounties of 8 members from the worst generation. The other 4 will fall into uncertain category, which will include X-Drake, Uruj, Beige and Bonnie. I will talk about them at last, so let's get down to the juicy part, the remaining 8. At first, we have Marshall D. Teach aka Blackbeard. The only one out of the 12 who is one of the 4 Yonkos, has gained fame and power quicker than anyone in just 2 years, has 2 broken devil fruits at his disposal. The man who has the highest bounty out of all the 12 pirates, a bounty of over 2.2 billion bellies. Blackbeard is definitely the man who is the absolute rival for Luffy. As we recently saw Blackbeard after the time skip, specifically in chapter 925, where we saw him on the island of Beehive, the same island where the infamous Rocks pirates were formed. Blackbeard looked more menacing, greedy and optimistic than ever. For now, we don't have any confirmation on what moves he will be playing on, but I'm definitely sure he will be on for something very big while Luffy is going forward to the war to defeat Kaido. While Luffy will be having this epic battle going forward, which will be changing the future drastically, Blackbeard is not just going to sit around, especially when he himself said that he will be trying to get his hands on something important. So I'm very much certain that after Wano, his bounty will spike up pretty high. The more reason to believe this is as a Yonko, his bounty is comparatively low to the other Yonkos. Yes, the main reason is that he's the newest Yonko out of the 4. But still, I think he needs to catch up to them soon. While talking about his bounty, it's hard to guess what exact number he is going to receive, because we do not know his exact goals moving forward. But anyways, we are here to do it. So after taking different aspects and perspectives into consideration, I assume his new bounty after Wano is going to be around 3.8 billion bellies. Next we have Luffy. I already predicted his bounty after Wano in my Straw Hats bounty prediction video. And we also know what his goals are in this arc. So I will make it very simple for him. Luffy, as we know, is going up against one Yonko in this arc, Kaido. And now adding up to the scene, we also have Big Mom. Luffy has been training to undergo major change, which included practicing the highest level of armament haki just to defeat Kaido. So he is going to be the star and be playing a very pivotal role in this war. Also, as we know, this war is going to be very big, as to be expected while you have 2 Yonkos. And taking the fact into consideration that it is going to be a team effort, Luffy's bounty is going to be at best doubled in my opinion, making his new bounty after Wano a very big amount of 3 billion bellies. Next, we have Eustace Captain Kidd. The single most talked about character for this main battle is Kidd. The main reason for this is back in Sabaody, we saw Oda drawing a rivalry between three supernovas captain including Luffy, Kidd and Law. So from that onwards, people have very high expectations and put Kidd in a very high pedestrian close to Luffy because of the portrayal he was given. You can also say Kidd's way of piracy is opposite of Luffy. He does what a real pirate should be doing, with his own mix of ideology and philosophy there. He is very ruthless pirate to say the least. Now talking about his journey and achievements throughout the new world in these 2 years, it has been pretty bad with demon reputation following. He had 3 major tussles with the Yonkos or their crews, one being attacking and destroying ships of Big Mom pirates, wounding a sweet commander to take what he actually wanted and left. Second, him having a skirmish with the Redhead pirates where he lost his arm. And the last, where he was defeated by Kaido, who coincidentally had found his way to Kidd's base. I would say the only gripe and main Yonko target for him was Shanks, but he was unlucky in the both front. Now let's talk about the things we got to know and expand upon him in these chapters in Wano. First of all, a big confirmation that we got about him was him having Conqueror's Haki. This was a big surprise. The second thing we saw was again his rivalry with Luffy inside Udon, and he was portrayed as an equal to Luffy physically and mentally. The third we got from him was his technique, or it might also be a transformation. The name is in the official, in the Viz, is called Punk Roten, and he was using it while Luffy was using Gearfort. So I'm pretty sure that Oda tried to draw a parallel there. Now we also can see how he was able to wound a sweet commander, because if Punk Roten matches Gearfort in power, then it's safe to assume that he's on commander level. But there is still a problem. We really still don't know how much of Haki mastery does Kidd has. We also really don't know whether he has advanced level of Haki or not. And we also really didn't see him train like Luffy just to defeat Kaido. So I can't put him on the same level as Luffy for now, because currently Luffy has some degree of future sight and the highest level of armament Haki. Now the other problem is the bounty difference between Luffy and Kidd. It is already more than 1 billion difference, and considering the fact that it is going to be a tag team and possibly Luffy will be the one to do the most work here, I'm afraid to say he's going to catch up to Luffy's bounty for now. He has to have an increment of at least 2.5 billion to catch up to Luffy, which in my sincere opinion is not going to happen unless he does something extraordinary. As it is going to be a team effort, like I said before, I think Kidd's bounty increment will be similar to Luffy. As I predicted, Luffy is going to have 1.5 billion increment. Similarly, Kidd is going to have an increase of 1.4 billion in my opinion, making his new bounty after Wano a well-deserved 1,970,000,000 bellies. Next one is Law. Law, as the part of Supernova's trio, is going to play a very big role in defeating Kaido. More than anything, his abilities make him really dangerous. But he is not very strong physically or is not a brute fighter like Luffy or Kidd. So he's probably going to back them up for the most part. Now, like Kidd, we really haven't seen Law train or talk about unlocking new abilities. Maybe he has improved, maybe not. But it is definitely going to be very much exciting to see what Law will be showing us in this one. I really can't wait for this. So now let's come to his bounty part. Law, as we know, currently has a bounty of 500 million bellies. And as I said before, he is going to be one of the 3 big forces to defeat Kaido. Maybe other will also join, but in my opinion, Luffy, Kidd and Law are going to be the main force behind his defeat. I assume Law's bounty is going to have an increment of 1.3 billion. The reason for me to have these numbers, specifically like Luffy having 1.5, Kidd having 1.4 and Law having 1.3, is because I think Luffy is going to have the biggest contribution defeating Kaido, and then Kidd and Law. Thus, with having the clear cut from this scenario, Law's bounty after Wano, in my opinion, is going to be around 1.8 billion bellies. Next, let's talk about Zoro. Like Luffy, I also talked about him in my Straw Hats bounty prediction video. So I will keep it very simple. For this arc Wano, one of the most highlighted characters for us fans is Zoro. Many of us also believe his family roots belong from Wano. He has not got a single signing all-out fight since the time skip, so we are hoping big things from Zoro, especially now that he has got a new sword Enma, a power-up for him. The sword is a very aggressive one who kind of has a unique trait of seemingly having its own will, where it sucks haki of its user by its own accord. In my opinion, this sword will definitely help him better his armament, and as we saw in the latest chapter, Zoro used it casually. So I am hoping that his big main opponent is going to be King. Now coming to his bounty part, I think his bounty after Wano is going to be 1,170,000,000 bellies. Of course, this is just my assumption, so he might have a higher bounty depending on the course of the war. Next, let's talk about Killer. I think the biggest surprise in the whole Act 2 was the revelation of Kamazo being Killer. In addition to that, we got to see different things done to Killer by Orochi. First of all, he was fed a smile fruit and then tortured, leading him to the miserable condition he was in chapter 937 and 938. There we saw him engaging in a brief skirmish with Zoro, where he was said to be a strong individual. But later he was knocked out from just one attack from Zoro. So this has led to fans being disappointed with Killer. But I want to clear up the air here. Killer definitely was not fine there, as we clearly saw him attacking Zoro carelessly with aggression. A guy like Killer, who is shown to be cool-minded and a logical thinker, was totally a different person, like a raging bull with no destination. He was completely defenseless. Also, as we saw in the battle, he didn't even use haki or name attacks or even had his primary weapons. So I think we still have to see the real Killer fight, and I know he is going to be good at it. Luckily, we got to see Killer again in his original attire, but we really can't confirm that his mental health is 100% stable. Anyways, as the kids crew will also be playing an important role in this war, Killer as the right-hand man for Kid will definitely get some shine in my opinion. So coming to his bounty part, I really can't say who he's going to fight. Maybe a Flying Six member? But regarding his role as the right-hand man for Kid, I think he will have a solid 300 million increment on his bounty part, thus making his new bounty after Wano 500 million bellies. Next one is Hawkins. Hawkins, as we know, was forced to join the Beast Pirates because of him escaping from Kaido was zero. So playing it safe, he joined the crew and is now currently the underling of Kaido. We first saw Hawkins encountering Luffy and Zoro in chapter 912 and 930. There, we saw Hawkins' new attack after the time skip, the Straw Man Puppet, which was fairly powerful as it was able to hurt Zoro. But later, Zoro was able to one-shot it easily. Anyways, moving on, Hawkins wanted to capture Law for extracting information from him about their alliance and their plans by torturing him. And he also succeeded in doing so. But after a few chapters, surprisingly we saw the opposite thing going on. Hawkins was completely defeated by Law with very minimal to no damage. It seems X-Drake helped Law to get out of the cell that Hawkins kept him in, but we will see it when it actually is revealed. Now, to add up to the defeat, Hawkins was shown to be cut down into pieces by Law, and we really didn't see him after that. But I'm pretty sure Law fixed him up before leaving from that place, because I think Hawkins will be joining the raid and be fighting against the Beast Pirates, as he also doesn't want to be their subordinate always. So after considering the fact that he might be joining the rebellions, oppose and fight against the Beast Pirates, I think Hawkins will have his new bounty increased by a considerate amount of 200 million bellies, therefore making his new bounty after Wano a handsome amount of 520 million bellies. The last one we are going to talk about is Scratchmen Apoo. As we know that Apoo was the mole or simply a traitor in the alliance with Kid and Hawkins. It was said that he was working under Kaido for quite a while. We finally saw him in Wano in chapter 954, where we were also introduced to the mysterious numbers of the Beast Pirates. Apoo and the numbers were in the Hakumai region. So did they come back together? But anyways, these guys were at the exact same location. And as we know for sure that Apoo is coming to the banquet, or rather I would say he has already joined the banquet. Because in the latest chapter, chapter 977, we saw a number enjoying the party. So Apoo also should be there by now. Now let's talk about his role in this war. I personally think he's going to be on Kaido's side in the beginning phase. But I think he will betray them on the later half, just as what Beige did. He was part of Big Mom Pirates and at last ended up betraying. But also that was a different case because Beige wanted to assassinate Big Mom. Anyways, in case of Apoo, I think he's going to turn his side depending on who's going to win or who's favorable at last, just like a chameleon changing its color. He's surely not going to just get defeated here because he is also the part of First Generation. But I also do think Kid will fight him at some point in the war. In my personal opinion, before bumping into Kaido, Kid will settle the score with Apoo as he betrayed the alliance as well as Kid himself. Anyways, let's come to his bounty portion. I think if he turns his side, it's safe to assume that he will be making out alive from Wano. So taking that into consideration, I think his new bounty after Wano is going to be around 550 million bellies. The same amount of increment as Hawkins, an increment of 200 million bellies. I think that's fair amount considering the fact that these guys' main deal was not to defeat Kaido and his army, like Luffy and the Alliance have. Now, as I said in the beginning part of this video that I will also be predicting the bounties of the remaining 4 individuals as they are also the part of First Generation. These guys are separated because of uncertainty reasons. So let's begin with X-Drake. As we know now that X-Drake is part of a secret marine organization named SWORD. The main objective has not been stated yet, or we really don't know are they working with actual marines like with Sakazuki. But at base level it seems to be an organization which has goal to infiltrate the territories of deadly pirates, especially the Yonkos, to extract important information from them. As of now, only 2 members have been confirmed, them being X-Drake and Kofi. So after knowing this fact, it's hard to say that X-Drake's going to have a new bounty. But also as we know that he had a bounty of 222 million back in Sabaody. So we can't be sure that he will not have a bounty after Wano, especially when we take 2 things into consideration. First, we do not know for sure that the SWORD is working with Sakazuki. Second, X-Drake joined the Beast Pirates and rose up to the rank of Flying 6. So considering that, Navy should have definitely increased his bounty. So I'm uncertain about him receiving a bounty after Wano, but I will still predict it. Before that, I would like to assume his current bounty amount also. Considering his achievement in the New World, I think his current bounty is 422 million bellies. After Wano, if he's going to have one, then I would guess that his new bounty after Wano is going to be around 722 million bellies. The next 3 I will be making it simple and short. Uruj. The last time we saw him, he was on a sky island from where Kaido jumped. In those scenes, we saw him still healing from his wounds that he received from Cracker. And for now, he has no business in Wano or with Kaido. So I don't think he will be joining the battle. Now coming to the bounty part, after his invasion of Whole Cake Island and defeating Snacks, the 4th commander of Big Mom Pirates, I assume his current bounty to be around 458 million bellies. And after Wano, I think each and every member of the Worst Generation bounties is going to increase, even if they are not present. Because if Luffy and Co win this war, the Worst Generation will just grow more as a threat to the world government. So I think even if some of them will not join the war, they will have at least 50 million increment to their bounty. In case of Uruj, it will be around 508 million bellies in my opinion. Next is Capone Gang Beige. As we know, he is in Dressrosa currently and his wife Siphon has just united with her sister. So it's hard to say Beige will go to Wano and join them. But still, there might be a possibility as Big Mom is present there. So he might want to personally go there and assassinate her. Still, in my personal opinion, I don't think he will be coming to Wano. So his new bounty after Wano, considering at least a 50 million increment, is going to be around 400 million bellies. Next one is Jewelry Bonnie. Same like the others, I don't think she will be going to Wano. Rather, I would say she is the most unlikely person to be there, as she was inside Marizua trying to accomplish her goals during the reverie. We also really don't know her current bounty, which she received after the time skip. If I were to assume, I think it's around 200 million currently. But after Wano, like the others, if she is gonna have 50 million increment, her new bounty after Wano is going to be around 250 million bellies.